This is a lovely huge patch of Achillea tarmica, commonly known as white tansy, peppergrass or sneezewort. It looks kind of like a cross between yarrow and feverfew, and it does have some of the same properties as yarrow. Sneezewort actually gets its name because the dried leaves used to be made into a kind of sneezing powder, and it has got quite a pungent smell to it as well. That's not really the nicest. So similar to herb robert, the pungent smell of the leaves can actually make this quite a good insect repellent if you just rub the fresh leaves onto your skin. The whole plant's edible. The flowers can be used as a herbal bath soak. The leaves have long been used as a herbal remedy for toothaches. So the leaves create kind of like a tingling, numbing sensation in the mouth that's been used to treat toothaches and ulcers. And the roots and rhizomes have been used to treat arthritis and joint pain as well. So you traditionally harvest the roots in the winter and then harvest all of the flowers and the leaves and the top growth in the spring and summer months. If you want to attract lots and lots of pollinators to your garden, knapweed is the plant to grow. Look at this, it is buzzing with life. There are so many bees, wasps and different kind of flies and stuff all over this knapweed. Knapweed is a really lovely edible plant. The flowers can be used in your salads and the roots and the leaves can be used to make a tincture with. Knapweed's got lots of different medicinal virtues, and one of the main ones is it can help to stem bleeding. So it's really great for nosebleeds and any kind of wounds to the mouth. You can also make a tincture with it by steeping the leaves and the roots in alcohol and using that internally or topically to promote wound healing. These tiny, tiny little dainty flowers down here are the flowers of the lesser stitchwort plant. And you might not notice this as much as its big sister, greater stitchwort, which you often see carpeting the woodlands in spring with its white flowers and seed heads that kind of pop and crackle when it's dry or when you step over them. But these little ones are much, much smaller and a lot less conspicuous. They've got much the same properties as their big sister, the great stitchwort, and are said to help heal broken bones and fractures, and they're also edible too. They can be added into salads and sandwiches and just collected a bit like you would with chickweed. They're fairly small, so you'd have to collect quite a few for any sort of great meal, but they're a lovely little addition to your salads and sandwiches and things like that when you're out on a walk. If you look closely at the petal arrangement, on first glance it does look like they've got 10 petals, but if you look super close, you'll see that it's actually got 5 really, really deeply notched petals that just look like separate ones. And you can see that the leaves are quite narrow and slender and pointy and quite lance-shaped. Down here we've got some lovely big sorrel leaves, and I'm actually going to be collecting some of these because in the winter months they're usually quite tiny, but these ones have got a fair size to them now, so I'm going to collect a few of these and we'll pop these in our salads later. They've got a really, really lovely citrusy, zingy, lemony kind of flavour to them. Just popped in your salads for a little extra summit. Sorrel is pretty easy to identify. It's got a really lovely lime green kind of colour to it, and the ends of the leaf have got this kind of fishtail shape to them. You can see how the ends are pointy and they've got this quite long slit. The only other plant that you can probably get this confused with is lords and ladies, but at this time of year you're pretty safe because lords and ladies have already gone to flower and probably seed by now. And if you give it a little nibble at the ends, you'll see that it's got a really lovely citrusy, sharp taste to it. The sorrel doesn't always have stems this long. This is quite long grass. Sometimes it can have much shorter stems. And the leaves can range in size. These, I would say, are fairly large ones, but they can be really, really tiny. The blackberries are all on their way. One of the best little late summer treats. These leaves are a little bit past it, but you can actually also use the young fresh leaves to make a really nice tea with as well. So this big pink patch of plants behind me is Caminerium angustifolium, commonly known as rosebay willow herb or fireweed, and also bombweed since the First World War as well, because it was known to take over the bomb crater sites so quickly. And it is a lovely edible plant. You can make a tea with this, you can use the flowers for salads, you can use the young shoots like asparagus in the spring, and in the summer the stems you can strip and eat the pith from the inside. And you can also eat the roots as well, so it's a really, really lovely, versatile plant. The whole plant is medicinal and it is antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic. It's part of the evening primrose family and it can grow up to 7 feet tall. It's a healing plant for both humans and the environment because it's one of the first plants that pops up once the soil has been under some stress, hence the common name fireweed, because you'll often find it at burn sites, places that have been bulldozed or disturbed. You'll find it in meadows, in parks, along railways and even on field edges as well. It's a really, really common and abundant plant, fireweed, and a beautiful one to see. They've got really, really fluffy seed heads, and these actually used to be sewn with duck feathers and made into blankets. I can see why, because they're very, very soft. Angustifolium means narrow-leaved, and the leaves are quite a good giveaway for this plant. And if you look closely, you can see that it's got a little tiny border vein just around the edge that's a little bit more prominent on the underside. Can you see how it's got a little tiny border that just runs along the edge? It's quite an easy plant to identify anyway, just because of the sheer height of it. It grows up to 7 or 8 feet tall, sometimes even taller. So I'm 5'1" and some of these are towering right above me. I reckon these are about 8 foot. This vibrant purple flower here is Devil's Bit scabious, and it's in the honeysuckle family. And it's a really, really beautiful plant that is edible as well. You can use the flowers and you can use the leaves as well, but it's the flowers that are commonly used in salads. They're really, really pretty. And what's really cool about scabious is that it was actually used as a cure for an adder bite, mixed with the knapweed that we saw earlier, and birthwort as well, I think, to make kind of an antidote for the adder bite. This pretty little plant down here is bird's foot trefoil. And whilst it's not really edible for humans, it can be used as a compress. So the leaves and the flowers can be used as a compress for bruises and burns and things like that. So it has got some healing properties. And so over in the field we found common sorrel, and in the woods we found wood sorrel. So this has got the same sort of zingy flavour from the oxalic acid, and it's really, really lovely. Popped into your salads and things like that, and then your desserts and cocktails. Really lovely little plant sorrel. There's loads of different types of sorrel in the UK. I just found loads of little beech nuts on the floor, and these are the green casings of the beech nut, and then once they have dried out you'll often see all of these over the forest floor. And if you see all of these over the forest floor, then you're likely in a good mushroom spot, because beech has symbiotic relationships with lots and lots of different types of mushrooms. So it's a really good tree to try and hunt down if you're a forager. And yeah, you don't often see these because the squirrels usually get there first. Chris has just finished work and come to join me, just in time, because look what I found. Lots of little baby chanterelles. Can you see all these little baby chanterelles? Look at them. I'm just going to go around and try and find some bigger ones. It's a little bit dark under this tree canopy, but can you see all of these little specks of orange? So many little chanterelles here. Look at these little baby pens. How cute. These aren't quite ready to pick yet, but I'm going to be covering these up with leaves and coming back for them. Chris is just covering up our little spot with leaves. My face is getting absolutely eaten alive by midges. Just found a little baby bolete. I'm going to pick it because it's been pretty... Oh. I think it was... The stem was rotten, but the cap looks quite nice. Look at it. Found a little brown birch bolete over here. This looks pretty prime, apart from... Oh no, it's pretty maggoty actually. It looks quite prime from the cap.
It looks quite solid.
Yeah, it looked real solid from the cap, but with a few little squirrel holes. But actually, closer inspection, so it's quite maggoty. This is one of the older brown birch boletes, and they are quite susceptible to maggots. As you can see here, this one is very, very past it. But this one, it could have been a winner, but unfortunately it's already quite maggoty. I'm not even going to bother cutting that open because I can feel that it's not very firm. He's having a right little feast, this slug. Look at him. Hello. Look at this picturesque little mushy going out the tree. I'm not going to disturb it because it's got a little slug feasting on it. But it's cute though. Yeah, it's very boggy round here. You've got a little mushroom umbrella.
Or maybe it is Leckenham, Cheyenne,
This looks like a little larch bolete here. Where's the larch tree? Oh look, there it is. There's a larch tree hiding. Yeah, a little larch bolete there. That confused me for a second because I just thought there was birch trees around. But there's a larch tree up there. That's cool. There's quite a few of them around there. Look, all down there.
Where?
So we've got another beautiful little larch bolete down here. Not going to pick him. But yeah, these are really, really lovely. And these ones are edible as well. There's nothing I like more than stroking moss patches.